Guess what, golfers? Vegas isn't just casinos and pool parties. In fact, there are 50 golf courses within a 15-mile radius of the Strip, all boasting beautiful desert oasis landscapes. So, if you're looking for a break from the action, consider hitting the links. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
No one is going to pick Indiana. No one's going to pick Indiana to make it close, honestly. Like, you could get tremendous odds if you pick OKC in 7.
I think that taking the series over 5.5 games, the last 2 NBA Finals series ended in 5. I think this one goes 6. I think the Thunder will get the job done, but I think the Pacers are just too strong of a team and too talented of a team and too deep of a team to lose in 5 or fewer games.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
Welcome to hour number 3, live right here on this Tuesday morning on the early line on SportsGrid. He is Donnie. I am Ben. Our third and final hour in plenty of baseball previews from the brilliant baseball mind of one Donnie right side comes your way here in this third hour on TEL. We've got a full slate. That's 15 games on this Tuesday around the bigs. We will break down plenty of them, picks, previews, and best bets for all that you need around the major leagues on this Tuesday evening, here bright and early on this Tuesday morning. We'll talk some more NFL headlines, mandatory minicamp starting today around the National Football League. Who is there, and maybe more importantly, who is not, and what might it mean for the Cincinnati Bengals? And then DRS, our third major championship of this year in golf, is this week. The United States Open in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Oakmont is the site of it, and the rough is already a very big storyline as we get ready for the U.S. Open. We'll talk about the odds in Scottie Scheffler's quest to win his first ever United States Open championship. Plenty of that, all of that, and even some more, like the College World Series in Omaha, in store for this third and final hour.
It's good. And by the way, the U.S. Open, ultimate test of golf, no doubt about it. And we always get those guys say, hey, I'm out on the golf course. Here's a golf ball. Let me drop it into the rough. You can't see your ball. Anybody who's played golf knows that is an absolute nightmare situation. We'll see how much that rough is, because the thing I do think about as well, when you play these majors, Ben, it's like, all right, we're going to listen to sort of the fans and the players as well. When they come off that golf course in the practice rounds or round number 1, I remember like growing up as a kid so many times in U.S. Open where they would have to bring like the actual sprinklers and the hoses out to hose down the greens because they were getting air. That's the U.S. Open. That's the golf I love, man. I can't wait for it.
And more than likely, DRS, that's what we're going to see at Oakmont this week. Numerous videos and photos yesterday of the grounds crew at Oakmont. Just like hundreds of them out with lawnmowers trying to take down the grass, being that penalizing rough that we have seen. And basically any golfer or any golf media writer or content person you follow has taken a golf ball and dropped it from about knee height into the rough just to display how thick that thing absolutely is. Later in the week, of course, we will have Keith Stewart here on the early line, who will be live in the Steel City to break down the 2025 U.S. Open. We'll take an early look at those odds coming up next. DRS mandatory minicamp begins today in a ton of spots around the NFL. If you are not there, you are subject to fines. And if you are the Cincinnati Bengals, a lot of their defensive players are not there. Jermaine Pratt cut yesterday. Cincy's leading tackler, top 10 in terms of total tackles last year in the NFL. Trey Hendrickson is not reporting. His contract negotiations at a standstill with the Bengals front office. How about the rook, Shamar Stewart, the 17th overall pick in the first round this past April? Nope, he's not participating. He will only be watching as his representation still tries to negotiate his rookie deal. So what does it all mean? How do we feel about the Bengals entering 2025? It was a question to all of you in Fade the Public. A rather simple question, DRS, with simple answers for you all to choose from, maybe with more complex reasoning that needs to be debated. Will the Cincinnati Bengals make the playoffs this season in 2025? The question to all of you at SportsGrid on Twitter, yes or no? Nearly 59% of the public, DRS, saying yes, since he will make the postseason. Donnie, did you fade the public?
I did not fade the public. I went with the public, and I said yes, because you have to understand this. We don't like the offseason direction of the Cincinnati Bengals. What do we like? You have your quarterback there who's really good. Your two-star wide receivers are happy and paid. They'll be back. That's a great start, and that's a lot better start than a lot of teams, particularly just in the AFC alone, because if you have a really good quarterback in his prime, it's almost like it doesn't matter what's around the team. He'll find a way to sort of get around 8, 9 to 10 wins, which puts you in the realm of the playoffs. And again, 10 wins probably will get you in. So from my vote here, I did go with the yes, and close to about 60%, because as much as the negativity is around the Bengals, you have to understand this. There's still a lot of bad football teams and bad quarterbacks in the NFL, as I said, let alone the AFC. They'll be in the mix for the playoffs. So if they're in the mix, I had to put yes, they're probably going to make the playoffs here, because I'm going to give Joe Burrow the benefit of the doubt, saying, I'm just a really damn good quarterback. I don't care what my defense is. We might want to win a Super Bowl, but I'm going to be in it with 2 to 3 games to play, and that's good enough for me.
I think that's a perfect summation, DRS. It's exactly how I feel as well. I voted yes. I am not fading the public. The odds makers also voting yes. The Bengals have a minus 176 number to reach the AFC postseason. Win total 9.5. Over has the pretty substantial juice at minus 135. We expect a 10-7 football team in Cincinnati because of the strength of that offense and the scoring outputs we are going to see, we expect to see, and frankly, we might need to see out of Joey B and the Bengals to be a winning football team in 2025. DRS, even with a bottom 10 defense last year that allowed 25.5 points per game, 7th worst in the NFL, nearly 350 yards, 8th worst in the NFL, the Bengals were still 9-8. They made a run despite starting 0-3. If Cincy doesn't start in one of those 0-2 or 0-3 holes we have seen the last 3 years, maybe, just maybe, they will already be on the front foot with a good chance to get to 10-7. It's not exactly a murderer's row to start off their opening month in September, where if they start 0-3, oh boy, just throw it out right now. But you look at the Browns, Jags, and against the Vikings, even on the road against the Broncos. DRS, if the Bengals are an underdog in any of those games, I would be surprised. Maybe by 1.5 points or so on the road at Minnesota or at Mile High against Denver. But we really do expect the Bengals to probably be favored in each of their 4 opening games to start this season. So the question for me about a Bengal bounce back is not necessarily does Cincinnati have enough defensively to make the postseason. It's, is it worth it to bet the Bengals at that plus 900 price to win the AFC Championship?
I don't think it is, because, again, you're going to need a really good defense once you get to the playoffs to stop teams like the Buffalo Bills, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Kansas City Chiefs. But if we're saying to ourselves just to make the playoffs, the minus 176, hey, man, that doesn't make sense. Their defense is shredded. There's no way they can hold up. Understand this. In order for them to not make the, there's bad football teams, which we're going to bring up here. If you say there's 7 teams that make the playoffs in each division, or each conference, The Buffalo Bills, the Baltimore Ravens, the Texans, and the Chiefs. Let's just say they're going to win the division. That's 4, which leaves 3 spots up for grabs. The East, the Dolphins, the Jets, and the Patriots. I'm expecting the Dolphins to go backwards. They were 8-9. They didn't have a great offseason. Looked like more of a rebuild at this point here. The Jets and the Patriots as well. What the expectations are probably aren't playoffs for me. Then you take a look at the North. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they'll be comparable along with the Bengals. I'm not expecting anything out of the Browns. The Colts, Jaguars, and Titans, good luck there. Like the Jags have a little bit new coach there, but we're 4-13 last year. This wasn't a 9-18 last year looking to take the next step. And then the Chargers, Broncos, and Raiders. So what I'm saying is the Bengals will be in it with a couple games left to play if they're healthy, which means they're quarterback. So that's why I think the best bettable option, even though it's a -176, is to make the playoffs. I don't think they're talented to make a splash in the playoffs and get to the Super Bowl, but I do think they make the playoffs here.
Right. We expect the Bengals to be in position but if that defense is even average, middle of the pack in the NFL, is that good enough to contend for a conference crown? That would be the question. We get you ready for the 125th playing of the United States Open. Next.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
It is U.S. Open week in the world of golf. The 2025 United States Open, our national championship, the 125th playing of this major. This year in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at Oakmont Country Club. It is set to be an absolute beaut, but it's also going to be an absolute brute. It is the toughest test in golf. We're not exactly sure what that finishing score could potentially be. even around even par could be successful this week at the U.S. Open. DRS Keith Stewart will be here throughout the week on TEL to break down the action that we are seeing, and of course tomorrow to set the stage for this week. But anytime that Scottie Scheffler is in the field at any PGA Tour event, certainly at major championships, his price is going to be incredibly short. That is the case this week, plus 280. It is more than $4 shorter than anybody else on this list. Scheffler plus 280. The reigning United States Open champ, Bryson DeChambeau, who won last year at Pinehurst, a 7-1 number. And Rory McIlroy, who completed the career Grand Slam earlier in the year at Augusta, a 12-1 number alongside Jon Rahm.
Yeah, it's good stuff here. I mean, the superstars come out for the big events, and none bigger, obviously, than the U.S. Open here. It should be a great test of golf, but understand this. Players that have won it in the past, that have won majors, they pop up on the leaderboard because it's, hey, anybody can, yeah, we understand anybody can win it. But my goodness, if you're in your spot for a first championship, it's probably not going to be the U.S. Open at that point because how tough it is to handle the rough and handle all the pressure down the stretch it goes. But it's wild. Like, we're going to talk about how tough this golf course is this week and the way it sets up, which means, Ben, you should have like 25 guys all stacked up on top of each other saying, well, I don't know who's going to win because of how hard that golf course is and how good these players are. And yet there's Scottie Scheffler in a U.S. Open at a plus 280 price, and the next competitor is Bryson DeChambeau, who won it last year at a 7-1 price. It's always crazy. And then I say, well, all right, that's the price. I don't want to. Well, who do you want to take outside of Scottie Scheffler when you know he's going to be there when it's all said and done with a legitimate chance to win this? But the price point, plus 280 in a major, insanity, and probably Scottie Scheffler will win it again.
DRS, from what I am seeing here, I believe that Oakmont is playing at a par 70, which means it's not your normal par 72, not nearly as many par 5s, which are the scoring holes for these guys out there on the PGA Tour. There are some tournament specials that kind of go to the idea of what that winning score is going to be. Par 70, 4 rounds, 70 times 4, 280 in total. Under 278 and a half for that winning score. The total amount of strokes taken is minus 145. If we were to stay under 278 and a half, 278 would be 2 under par. But notice it's not 265 or even 270. If you're a couple under par, a couple in those red figures, you are going to have a chance to be crowned a major champion and win the United States Open. To your point, DRS, at the toughest test in golf. Again, it's not that Scottie Scheffler is just a short favorite in comparison to the entirety of the rest of the field. It is shorter than $3. It is plus 280. DeChambeau, that second best number at 7-1, of course, was in contention at the opening 2 majors this year. Now, Rory McIlroy completed the career Grand Slam at the Masters, of course, back in April, winning his first career green jacket and completing that career Grand Slam after 11 years. But he has not been great since. Was pretty bad at the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow, a golf course he has had a lot of success at. Skipped out on the Memorial Tournament at Jack's Place. Did not meet with the media after any of his 4 rounds at the PGA Championship. And last week, DRS, at the RBC Canadian Open, missed the cut. He shot a 78 on Friday. One of his worst rounds in his PGA Tour career in a non-major championship. Rory is not entering the toughest test in golf in really the best of his form.
Yeah, exactly. And it's when we take a look at Major League Baseball and equate it. It's like, hey, I don't really care what you did in the last week of March or first couple weeks of April. Give me the 30-day statistics. How are you coming into this tournament? Are you playing great golf? Did you break in a new driver? Are you having problems with your 8-iron? Is your putter, absolutely going bare? Maybe that's the case for him, but you're still talking about a price point in the top 3 at 12-1 for him to win this and shooting a 78 in a tournament that wasn't all that tough with a lot of pressure in Canada. Now, things can turn around quickly, and maybe your head wasn't in the game that week, and you fixed a couple things on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and you're ready to go here for Thursday's true test of golf. But that's not something I look forward to. Like, I'm not one of those type of handicaps. Like, okay, ebbs and flows in golf, he'll eventually get it back. Like, oh, I love the fact. I want to take a 3-point shot in the NBA, Ben, for a guy that went 2 of 12 the night before. No. You know what I want to take? The guy went 7 of 8 because I know he's ready to go, saying every shot that he attempts, he believes it's going in. It's the same thing with Rory. The last thing you want on a golf course where if you're spraying your driver just a little bit, not hitting fairways, good luck with that at the Open. Tough for me to get on Rory's bandwagon this week, Ben.
Yeah, DRS. And again, one of the reasons that Scottie Scheffler is such a short favorite is not just because he is Scottie Scheffler, but what he has done here as of late. Finished 4th at the Masters, then a T8 the following week at the RBC Heritage. Then he won the CJ Cup Byron Nelson, won the PGA Championship, his first major title, not at Augusta. Finished top 5 at the Charles Schwab, at Colonial, and of course last week won the Memorial. He has 3 wins in his last 4 starts. He has 7 consecutive top 10s on the PGA Tour as well. He is in brilliant form entering the United States Open this week. Of course, some other golfers, DRS, that we expect to be in consideration. Ludwig Oberg is a big game hunter, 27-1. Joaquin Niemann has a great outlook, has been great this year on LIV, 30-1. Tommy Fleetwood, Justin Thomas, a winner this year already at 40-1 as well. Keith Stewart will be here to give you the early leans on the early line, I believe, tomorrow. DRS, any golfers that you want to get down with early on this week?
You know what? I got to take a look because I didn't do the research. Now on the golf course, we know it's tough, Ben. But as we know, if you're a scorer, what are the conditions you like? Hey, it's going to rain a little bit, soften up those greens. Are they going to cut down and trim the rough here? So I need a little bit more information. So I would like to talk to Keith and say, how is it playing? Who looks like they're in a spot? And also the expectations for the tournament, not for the players' perspective, Ben, just for the course itself for me.
Pretty beautiful weather in the opening 2 rounds at Oakmont, but Saturday and Sunday, the potential of some showers. MLB breakdown next.
It'll be interesting to see what the Knicks do, but the Knicks are at a point now where they don't have to blow it up. They may still do so, and they have a right to do so, but with trading the 4 first-round picks and the pick swap for Mikal Bridges, the Knicks don't have a lot of room in regards to actual picks to throw at people.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Plenty of takeaways from Yankees-Dodgers where LA sent the message on Saturday, and the only way the Yankees could salvage it was somehow beating Yamamoto, and they did.
You're staring a sweep in the face, and after losing the World Series, knowing what the opponent is, you know what the narrative would have been on Sunday Night Monday. Oh, Yankees get swept by the Dodgers.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
We've got a full Tuesday slate in Major League Baseball. That's all 30 clubs. That's 15 games on the diamond. And the brilliant baseball mind of one DRS is here to break it all down. DRS, we continue with our Southern California rivalry. Late night tonight out in SoCal. specifically San Diego, as the Padres host the Dodgers for game number 2 of this 3-game midweek set. Again, these two teams will face off next week in the midweek for a 4-game series in Los Angeles. The Dodgers taking game 1, the first matchup this year between these NL West divisional foes, winning 8-7 in extras. Pitcher listed right now, as I see it on FanDuel for San Diego, it's Dylan Cease. And the Padres, an ever so slight favorite, -110. -106 on the other side for LA, who have only been booked as an underdog 12 times this season. DRS total 8.5. Are you seeing a starter named by Dave Roberts just yet?
I have one showing Sauer is the starter. Let me see if I can get something on the opposite side here. Let's see. I see Sauer in both locations that I'm looking at here. Now, granted, when you take a look at a guy named Matt Sauer, not a lot this season. 78 total batters that he's faced, only 39 in the last 30 days. But here's the interesting part about this again. We talked about it. Close line, you always favor the Los Angeles Dodgers. This might be a little bit different because we don't have a pedigree pitcher per se on the mound for Matt Sauer. He's struggled over the past 39 batters he's faced to a 278 ISO power number. Not a great lineup hitting-wise against right-handed pitching for those Padres over the past 30 days, 68-degree temperatures. But here's what I want to focus on, though. It's Dylan Cease on the opposite side. Of course, we know the Dodgers have a better lineup than the San Diego Padres tonight. Cease's numbers over his past 114 batters, they're not great, Ben. It's a 192 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 314, which isn't that bad. Lefties have gotten the best of him, righties not so much. But here's the issue. What are you trusting here? What's happened at the plate? Or maybe he's being a little bit unlucky. Because if you look at the card today, there's 27 pitchers over the past 30 days with a minimum of 5 innings pitched here. Dylan Cease, out of those 27 pitchers, Ben, he's number 2 on the card in xFIP here. 28 in the third innings pitched, an ERA of 4.45, which isn't good. But look at that xFIP number, 2.42. Absolutely spectacular. So it's one of those times where, yes, the Dodgers on an even money split. Why don't you just go with the Dodgers? But I do think the better pitcher's on the mound here with the Padres, and that's probably the way I'll lean in this one today, just because I don't have a big backlog here on Sauer, where I know Cease can turn it up with the strikeouts.
Matt Sauer, the 26-year-old, made his MLB debut for the Dodgers in 2025. He has made 7 appearances so far this year, but not since May 23rd. A 1-0 record, a 3.05 ERA. Again, Matt Sauer doesn't seem to have all that much of a background and pedigree as of this moment. If the Padres, DRS, trailing the Dodgers by 2 games in the NL West, can win the final 2 to take this midweek set, we'll have a tie atop the division at the end of this midweek series in San Diego. The Dodgers, if they hold as the underdog even ever so slightly tonight in San Diego, it would be just the 13th game this year for LA, booked as the underdog, 12 of those 13 on the road. Another midweek series that got started on a Monday, and thankfully for Philadelphia, with a victory snapping a 5-game skid, also went to extras. The Phils beat the Cubbies in 11, courtesy of a walk-off RBI winner from Brandon Marsh. It's the young buck for the Fightins today. Mick Abel gets the start against the Cubs. It's a -108 price, a direct updated moneyline pick'em on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Total DRS, 9.5. What's the play today at the bank?
No, it's again, you have a couple starts under your belt for Mick Abel, and they've been really good starts here. So the expectation is he's coming in, you know what, I'm confident now. Like, I've been around the block here a couple times, faced a couple major league teams here. I think at Toronto and home against Pittsburgh, and I handled myself well. Back at home, we have a home start, like a whole new environment where I'm pitching here. But my focus isn't really on Abel, and can he hold down the Cubs, who are a good lineup? It's the fact that Colin Ray has really not been good over the past month, Ben. He's 25th out of 27 pitchers on the card, 28 total innings pitched here, 4.82 ERA, but pretty much a matching xFIP of 4.61. You look at who he's pitched to, he's struggled, Ben. Last 119 batters he's faced, the total is a 224 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 384. And look at the K rate, 15%. Doesn't strike anybody out. Lefties have gotten the best of him here. It's a shame that Bryce Harper's not in the lineup, but again, Kyle Schwarber to be able to get down tonight. The Phillies haven't hit right-handed pitching all that well, and particularly from their left-handed batters. But this is one of those games where I was wrong on yesterday. We get 5 runs out of Cleveland. We didn't. We got 4 and had a chance to get 5, but didn't get there. But this is one of those, we look at the Phillies going, they've been struggling at the plate. They should hit. It's 80-degree temperatures with the wind blowing out the midfield. They should hit Colin Ray.
Plenty more around the big. Up next.
it'll be interesting to see what the Knicks do. But the Knicks are at a point now where they don't have to blow it up. They may still do so, and they have a right to do so, but with trading the 4 first-round picks and the pick swap for Mikal Bridges, the Knicks don't have a lot of room in regards to actual picks to throw at people.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Plenty of takeaways from Yankees-Dodgers where LA sent a message on Saturday, and the only way the Yankees could salvage it was somehow beating Yamamoto, and they did.
You're staring a sweep in the face. And after losing the World Series, knowing what the opponent is, you know what the narrative would have been on Sunday night, Monday. Oh, the Yankees get swept by the Dodgers.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is plenty of baseball to break down for you here on this Tuesday on the early line on SportsGrid. It's a full Tuesday slate around the bigs. And from the brilliant baseball mind of Donnie Rightside, we do continue. Under the arch yesterday, DRS, a battle of the birds. The Blue Jays, who are red hot, and the Redbirds of St. Louis, who have been one of the surprising teams around the National League this year. A wild game yesterday. The Jays had a 3-0 lead into the 8th. The Cardinals respond with 4 runs in the 8th, courtesy of a 3-run shot from Ivan Herrera, who put St. Louis up by a run, only to be tied in the top of the 9th. And then Alejandro Kirk, an RBI double in the top of the 10th in extras, wins it for Toronto. Speaking of winning it for the Jays, Toronto has won 10 of its last 12 games entering today's matchup against St. Louis. So under the arch, another pick'em price. -108, that updated money line number on both sides on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Chris Bassett gets the nod for the Jays. Miles Michaelis on the other side for St. Louis. 8.5 is the total. What do you like today under the arch?
I'm liking the way this Toronto lineup projects itself. Now, yesterday, a 3.5 total, which was about like a -140 price point. They ended up getting that there. Needed a home run, I believe, in the 9th inning just to get it to extras here to get that 4th run, but ended up taking that down. Kirk had a decent game with a home run and a couple of base knocks here. 78-degree temperatures, love to see that. Light wind blowing out to right field, that's all great. Miles Michaelis, not a great pitcher. If we take a look at him even over the last 30 days, Ben, 27 1/3 innings pitched here, a 2.96 ERA, which isn't bad, but the 4.35 xFIP number. Why? He doesn't strike out batters. That usually lends to get yourself in trouble. If we look at the lineup today, only 2 players in that lineup, once again, presenting themselves for the Blue Jays as high strikeout guys, which means you have 7 quality batters. And of those 7, the first 6 in the lineup, 321, 334, 404, 357, 367, and 386 are the weighted on base percentages here for the Toronto Blue Jays going up against right-handed pitching over the past month. So I do give a slight lean to that. If we're looking at Chris Bassett, his ERA is a little bit high at 3.90 over the past month through 27 2/3 innings pitched, 357 xFIP number, so not too bad. So when we're looking at the lineups, I like the Toronto lineup better, and particularly the pitching a little bit better from Toronto's side. Some guys that you might want to look at from a Cardinals perspective, though, right-handers have gotten the best of Bassett over the past month, so maybe you take a look at maybe a Wilson Contreras in that lineup or a Nolan Arenado, even though they don't have very good statistics against right-handed pitching over the past month, maybe a chance for an RBI. But for me, I'm actually looking at Toronto here. I think they're the better team, better pitcher, and better lineup to get the victory today.
Jonathan Clase was the guy to hit the solo dinger, DRS, at the top of the ninth for the Blue Jays to extend to extras. The Blue Jays, again, 10-2 in their last 12. St. Louis, a surprising team around MLB this year, still 36-30, and yet 4 games back of the Chicago Cubs for that top spot in the National League Central. That game, the opener of the midweek set in St. Louis, was wild yesterday late. So, too, was the one late night out in the desert in downtown Phoenix. The D-backs held a 4-0 lead into the ninth against the Mariners, who then tied it up with 4 runs in the ninth. So then we go to extras, and then Josh Naylor hit a walk-off grand slam for the Snakes to win it 8-4. Seattle struggling. The M's have lost 11 of their last 15 games. They face off tonight once again in Arizona, where Brandon Pfaadt, DRS, has been stacking up the wins throughout this season. 9.5 now, that updated total. The D-backs a home favorite tonight around that -126 number. What's the play in this desert duel late night out in Phoenix?
The one thing we do know is Pfaadt's been stacking up that ERA because over his last 18 2/3 innings pitched over the past month. How about an 11 ERA for a guy out here? Talking about Brandon Pfaadt. When he came out, I was like, how do you pronounce that? Fat? The only thing fat now is that ERA going higher for him. 5.53 xFIP number. Here's the issue, though, Ben, right? You look at the Mariners. Are we back to the old Mariners that can't get key base hits at times and we're struggling at the plate? Because that's what I'm seeing here in the numbers. Going up against Pfaadt, who over his last 91 batters, Ben, how about a 309 ISO against and a 422 weighted on base percentage and a strikeout rate of 11%? To lefties, it's 5%. He's not doing any damage whatsoever. 2 guys in the lineup I like, though. J.P. Crawford, leadoff spot, left-handed batter, a 172 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 400 against right-handed pitchers. But always, Cal Raleigh, man, just pops up on that card every single day. His last 72 at-bats against right-handed pitching, how about a 475 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 455? Now, he has a K rate of 30% against right-handed pitching, which a lot of power hitters do because you're trying to get the most out of your 3 swings. But now we're saying, all right, a guy that strikes out a lot, but a guy that doesn't strike out lefties at all, and Cal Raleigh is a switch hitter, he'll be batting from the left side. Maybe that's an added advantage for a legitimate chance for a Raleigh home run tonight. Then we flip it over to the Arizona side. Their lineup always looks good on a night-to-night basis. Logan Evans on the mound today. Take a look at his last 76 batters he's faced. That's a 233 ISO power number against. So for me, I need the Mariners to show up tonight at the plate, and they should be able to do that against Brandon Pfaadt. Probably an over is in perspective, but just from a home run standpoint, like Cal Raleigh, man, just checks all the boxes tonight. He really does.
Pfaadt has been getting hammered, DRS, and big dumper. That being Cal Raleigh still leads the bigs in home runs this year. Pfaadt through April had a 5-1 record and a 2.78 ERA. A couple of good early outings against the Dodgers in May got him to 7-3 on May 19th. That matched the most wins at the time in MLB. But Donnie, the ERA in May, an 8.10. He allowed 5 earned in his only start so far in June against the Braves. Yeah, to your point, he has been struggling mightily as of late. You know who is not in his debut season for the New York Yankees? That's Max Fried. He's on the bump today in Kansas City for the Pinstripes as they take on the KC Royals. Of course, a postseason rematch of the division series a year ago. The Yanks a -200 favorite inside Kauffman Stadium tonight. Total 8.5. -200 on the road, even with Fried on the bump. Is it too steep in favor of those Yanks?
Look, Noah Cameron has been really good on the season. 119 total batters faced on the season. How about an 0.64 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 194? Now, he's doing this a little bit with smoke and mirrors. Why do I say that? He's only got a 16% K rate, which is really hard to do, which means baseball's getting put in play. Eventually, you're all going to get damaged. Now, here's the interesting part about it again when we take a look at the ERA as compared to the analytics. Noah Cameron in the last 30 days, 25 1/3 innings pitched here. He's got a 1.07 ERA, which is spectacular, but that xFIP is at a 4.27, a marked disagreement between what he's given up and what he's possibly should have given up. And now you're taking a look at temperatures at 83 degrees here at Kauffman Stadium and a light wind blowing out. You got 4 mashers in that lineup against left-handed pitching over the past month. That's Paul Goldschmidt with a 238 ISO power number. That's Ben Rice with a 462 ISO power number. Aaron Judge with a 250 ISO, and Cody Bellinger at a 259. All of those guys as well with high weighted on base percentages and high walk rates. We're expecting traffic on the bases. I don't know if I want to lay a minus 200. Even though Max Fried is sensational, Cameron's been a good pitcher, but does it catch up to him tonight against those New York Yankees?
Yeah, we shall see, DRS. Max Fried has been unreal so far this season. Let's go back to Boston, where, of course, yesterday, the debut for Roman Anthony at Fenway. Of course, a day he will remember forever, but a couple of mistakes, especially out in right field, that did end up costing the Sox. So tonight, DRS, inside Fenway Park once again. I'm trying to track down the odds for this game. There they are. Lucas Giolito gets the start for the Red Sox. They're an ever so slight home underdog against their divisional foe in the Tampa Bay Rays, who have won 15 of their last 19. Total tonight is 9 in Beantown. What's the play?
Let the good times roll. We expect probably more also earned runs in this game. 64-degree temperatures. You don't love that. Light wind blowing in from right field shouldn't have any impact. Didn't impact anything last night. We had a ton of runs and a ton of runs late in that game. You look at Lucas Giolito on the mound, Ben, his last 30 days in Major League Baseball. 5 starts, 24 innings pitched, a 5.63 ERA, but a 4.37 xFIP number. Sometimes you just want to ride the hot hand with that lineup here for the Tampa Bay Rays. You look at Lowe, Lau, Diaz, Aranda, Caminero, everything high with weighted on base percentages here. We look at that Boston lineup. Sometimes it's tough to judge some of the younger players there, but Pepio's last 30 days, he doesn't have sensational numbers here. The ERA is a 2.27, which you love, a 3.59 manageable xFIP number. I got to go Tampa today. Light number, give me the hot team.
That would be 16 of 20 for the Rays. More baseball next.
Yeah.
Hey sports fans, here's a tip to keep in mind the next time you make your betting picks. According to research, home field advantage is no joke, especially in those playoffs. In the NBA and the NFL postseason, the home team typically has a 64% shot at victory. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
I got a feeling Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. I got a feeling there is no chance they're going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just kidding.
They're still not expected to have over 8.5 wins. They're still not expected to have a winning record. Now, I know things could change for the next 24 hours. I get that. But everyone expected Aaron Rodgers to sign with him. He's going to sign with him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Plenty of takeaways from Yankees-Dodgers where LA sent a message on Saturday, and the only way the Yankees could salvage it was somehow beating Yamamoto, and they did.
You're staring a sweep in the face. And after losing the World Series, knowing what the opponent is, you know what the narrative would have been on Sunday night, Monday. Oh, the Yankees get swept by the Dodgers.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The fork is still very much in the Atlanta Braves as of this moment, but how deep are we sticking that? See, it just Some of the phrasing behind Fork Watch sounds a little bit crazy.
Action
just to say, the Braves did snap a 7-game slide yesterday, of course, in Milwaukee, behind a masterful performance on the bump from Chris Sale. Today, Grant Holmes gets the start for the Braves against the Brew Crew, and Atlanta remains a road favorite in Milwaukee. -120, the updated price on the money line for the Braves. The total stands at 8.5. They had lost 7 in a row, that being Atlanta entering yesterday. They had dropped 14 of their last 17, that being the Braves entering yesterday. DRS, can Atlanta go on a little run and win multiple games consecutively here today in Milwaukee?
Usually I'd say, yeah, Quinn Priester's on the mound. It's one of my favorite fade guys, what you say, over the past year and a half, but not really fadeable at this point right now, particularly, Ben, over the past 30 days. Look at his numbers, 103 batters faced here, a 156 ISO against, which is really good. How about a 268 weighted on base percentage? Here's the issue again, though. He does struggle with striking guys out, which means when the ball is in play, bad things happen, particularly to the defense and or the pitcher himself. But Quinn Priester's last 27 and a third innings pitched, how about a 2.63 ERA and a 3.67 xFIP number? It's very manageable. The top of the lineup is going to have to do the damage for the Atlanta Braves once again. Acuna, Riley, Olsen, and Ozuna. Because after that, Michael Harris, Sean Murphy, Ozzie Albies, Alec Verdugo, and Nick Allen, all really bad hitters against right-handed pitching over the past 30 days. Also understand this, we're in Milwaukee. It's like a beach day today. 74 degrees at first pitch, light wind blowing out the left. That roof is definitely going to be open, which helps some of that ball carry in there, get a little bit more humidity than just shutting it down at that point. If we're looking from Milwaukee side, it's a lineup that I don't love on a day-to-day basis. It almost feels like, let me check in on Christian Yelich if he matches up, and if not, I'm just going to keep moving here. Grant Holmes has been decent over his past 30 days. 117 batters, Ben, he's faced a 150 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 288. Trying to find here on the roster. Let me see where he's coming in at today. Atlanta. Grant Holmes actually 8th on the card today. Not too bad, which is you line him up here against the pitcher on the other side, Priester. We might be getting an under type of play in this game because Holmes is 318 over the past month, a 347 xFIP number, which again isn't bad and not a great look at lineups. Maybe 5 total batters I like combined. How about an under in this game to play to?
Under 8.5 DRS. I do like that. Look, a little bit more juice on the over right now for the Brew Crew and the Braves. But, of course, Atlanta has not been great offensively. Finally got some runs out of Ronald Acuna Jr., a solo shot, and a Matt Olson home run as well in that 5th as the Braves started to pull away to take advantage of that sensational start out of Chris Sale. You saw the tease for this segment. Can Andrew Abbott, the starter today for Cincinnati in the interstate showdown against the Cleveland Guardians, bounce back? Abbott's been sensational this year, DRS. Through May, he was 5-0 with a 1.51 ERA, but last Wednesday, in his first start of June against Milwaukee, he got shelled. 5 earned, given up over 6 innings of work, 2 home runs. It was just the second start this year for Abbott. He allowed more than a single earned run. Also gave up 4 in Coors Field earlier at the end of April. The Guardians are a slight home favorite today in the land, now -116 against Andrew Abbott and his Reds. My Reds, Cincy above 500 now. Need them to get to 80 victories this year to go over their preseason win total. 8.5 now that total today in Cleveland. DRS, Central Seas, what do you like?
Yeah, by the way, you take a look at the 72 degrees here with the wind blowing out to right field. Do you like that if you're the hitters at this point? Abbott is a lefty, same thing as Miley was on the mound yesterday, and they got 3 runs before the 5th inning. So maybe it's one of those where, hey, take a team total first 5 innings, 1.5 around that you probably should cash it in. But the theory is different from what I played yesterday, Ben, until today. Hey, lefty on the mound, sooner than later the Guardians have to be able to hit him. Well, that was a tomato can pitcher. Abbott, even though he can get roughed up at times, hasn't been a tomato can pitcher this year. And even over the last 116 batters he's faced, how about a 121 ISO power number against and a weighted on base percentage of 261? That's really good. And you look at the lineup today, outside of Jose Ramirez, who is a switch hitter, everybody looks bad, weighted on base percentage-wise against lefties here. So I don't know if that's going to change today, where yesterday was like, you know what? This guy shouldn't be in Major League Baseball. You should be able to rough him up. 5 innings pitched, 3 earned runs. You'll take that, but you lost that game. You shouldn't have lost yesterday. If we take a look at the opposite side, though, Slate Ciccone on the mound, I'm not a big fan of his at all. Not a huge strikeout guy, and look at the weighted on base percentage against him over the past month, a 382, an ISO power number of 284. TJ Friedel, Gavin Lux, Ellie De La Cruz, Tyler Stevenson, Will Benson. Those guys really pop up for me. So I'm looking at the better pitcher on the mound today and the better lineup on the mound today. I got to have the Reds, man. Give me the Reds today.
Yesterday in Cincy's win, DRS, in Cleveland, they had 5 guys in that starting lineup that recorded multiple base knocks, including the first 3 in their order. TJ Friedel, as you mentioned, Gavin Lux, and Ellie De La Cruz. It was a really nice offensive outing out of Cincinnati. DRS, both of the best teams in baseball. The Tigers, who have the best record around the bigs, best mark in the American League, 43-24. The Mets have the best record in the National League, 42-24. Had Monday off following the weekend. Both back in action today. The Tigers an underdog in Baltimore against the atrocious Orioles. Cade Povich, is he turning things around? The former Nebraska hurler now for the O's. Griffin Canning gets the start today for the Mets as they host the Nats as a home favorite. DRS, should the Tigers be an underdog in the Charm City?
81 degrees, man. You like that. So, in Baltimore, we're starting to see that heat and humidity come in, 6-mile-an-hour winds blowing at the right. But understand this, like Cade Povich is supposed to be a fade guy. 20 to 30 innings pitched here, Ben, over the past month. He's got a 4.35 ERA. It's like, ooh, that isn't good. But a 3.18 xFIP number, which is really good. Herter on the other side, not a lot of statistics, but he's been solid as well. Here's the issue. We're waiting for the Baltimore lineup to absolutely start hitting. Outside of Jackson Holliday, Adley Rutschman, and Dylan Carlson, everybody else is really poor against lefties, so that's hard to trust. On the opposite side, you still got Detroit. They hammer left-handed pitching. So if we're doing like a toss-up of pitchers, which should hold them down, the batters are way better for Detroit than they are for Baltimore today, in my opinion.
Yeah, total is 9 today at Camden, by the way. Baltimore had entered the weekend winning 6 straight in 9 of its last 11, maybe turning things around. They lost the weekend series against the A's. DRS, we send you off to the money line now, my friend. Have a lovely time. We'll chat tomorrow on a Wednesday. We're on the early line, including a preview of Omaha.
It'll be interesting to see what the Knicks do, but the Knicks are at a point now where they don't have to blow it up. They may still do so, and they have a right to do so, but with trading the 4 first-round picks and the pick swap for Mikal Bridges, the Knicks don't have a lot of room in regards to actual picks to throw at people.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
No one is going to pick Indiana. No one's going to pick Indiana to make it close, honestly. Like, you could get tremendous odds if you pick OKC in 7.
I think that taking the series over 5.5 games, the last 2 NBA Finals series ended in 5. I think this one goes 6. I think the Thunder will get the job done, but I think the Pacers are just too strong of a team and too talented of a team and too deep of a team to lose in 5 or fewer games.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The Knicks really got past that playoff dragon for them that really stood in their way. So for the New York Knicks to be the Celtics and then an outright favorite to win the Eastern Conference Finals, that's where the disappointment is.
The goalposts got moved, right? Because when you went into the Celtics series, a lot of Knicks fans said they weren't going to beat it. I'll say this is more unprecedented than the 99 run when they were the 8th seed.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Face. It's the new face. New face of what? The hell are you talking about? Like seriously. Oh, the new face of the NBA, Anthony. Yeah, okay. You know what I mean? Look, really? Guy's got 2 shots. You're the face of the NBA. Slow down. He's a good player. I've always thought the whole face of the NBA thing was comical. You want him to be the face of the NBA because you don't like it that all the other faces in the NBA aren't American.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
The Omaha 8 is now set. The field for the Men's College World Series beginning on Friday this weekend in the Big O. That's downtown Omaha, Nebraska. It has been officially filled out. We had one more spot available last night in the Durham Super Regional Game 3 in a best of 3. Duke hoping to get to the College World Series for the first time in 64 years since 1961. In a Regional 4 seed in Murray State, squaring off for that final spot. And the Racers make history. Murray State advancing to the Men's College World Series for the first time in program history, becoming just the 4th ever Regional number 4 seed to reach Omaha. It is a spectacular thing. It is a Cinderella run. If you were to put it into the context of the 64-team bracket of the NCAA basketball tournament, even if Murray State was the best of the 4 seeds, and frankly, I think they are, they would have been on the 13 line. So imagine a 13 seed playing in the Elite 8. That is how magical this run has been for Dan Skirka, the head coach and the skipper of Murray State, reaching Omaha, Nebraska. Here are the odds of the 8 teams that will be a part of the field in 2025. We'll talk some history with this bunch of the Omaha 8 in just a moment. The favorites, Arkansas and LSU. We'll talk about the bracket in just a moment. Of course, both the Hogs and the Bayou Bengals hail from the SEC. Now, the SEC sent a record 13 programs to the NCAA baseball tournament in the field of 64. They had 8 teams as national seeds hosting a regional in the opening weekend. That also a record. Only 4 saw the second weekend reaching a super regional. Now only 2 getting to Omaha. It has not been a great NCAA tournament, of course, for the SEC. And yet, when all is said and done, they still have the 2 betting favorites to win a national championship. And frankly, when all is said and done, how could you fade the idea of a team from the Southeastern Conference getting crowned a national champ? 5 straight national champs from the SEC, 10 of the last 15 national title winners from this conference. But we'll talk about the Razorbacks and the Tigers squaring off right away in Omaha on Saturday in just a matter of moments. Coastal Carolina back in the College World Series for the first time since 2016 when the Chanticleers won it all in Omaha. Oregon State back for the first time since 2018 when the Beavs won it all in Omaha. UCLA back for the first time in more than a decade. Arizona playing in the College World Series once again. Louisville and then the Cinderella team, the Racers of Murray State at 35-1. These 8 schools playing in the 2025 MCWS is incredible because none of these teams were here exactly a year ago. It's the first time since 1957 that no teams in the Omaha 8 were in the field the season prior. We have 7 conferences representing our 8 schools in the College World Series in the Big O. That's the most leagues represented in more than 2 decades since 2003. Now let's dive into the bracket. Our first 2 games up on Friday. It's Coastal and Arizona in the opener, 2 p.m. Eastern. It's Louisville and Oregon State in the finale. Then on Saturday, it's UCLA and Murray State in the opener, and a game on Saturday night inside Omaha, Nebraska that is going to be incredible at Charles Schwab Field. It's LSU and Arkansas. 2 fan bases that basically booked their ticket to Omaha in anticipation. Their programs are going to be there each and every June, but even if their favorite schools don't end up going, they show out. You know that Jello Shot Challenge at Rocco's? LSU and Arkansas have already won the crown before. They're probably going to finish 1-2 in some order this time around. And we have the 2 betting favorites squaring off against one another in the first game. Notice that. Arkansas and LSU, 2 best prices, play each other in the opening game in Omaha. One team is going to lose and play from the loser's bracket. That is not a spot you want to be. Only 3 times in this current format. 64-team field dating back to 1999 has a team lost their first game in the CWS and ended up winning a national championship. The most recent to do so, 2018, that was Oregon State. The last year the Beavs reached Omaha. So know that and maybe getting a better price on Arkansas or LSU. If you believe they can overcome the odds from the losers bracket, I already bet Arkansas at a plus 360 price entering Super Regional Weekend. Give me DVH. That's Dave Van Horn and the Hogs. The early line returns tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern, here on the Grid.